So what I'm looking for in my flow is, I'm looking for a structure in my schedule that produces power in my life, right? I want to increase in power. At the end of the day, I don't want to feel burned out. I don't want to feel like, I'm just dead. I don't, and if you're feeling that way, then you should really take a look at the activities that you're doing. Now, I'm not talking about tired, I'm talking about burned out. One of the first question that got sent in to me before, and this may be a question that you have, and there's a broader question here, but the question was, so we have a daily writing routine. What's the exact micro steps of the best way to do this? Do I start off writing in my journal? Do I start off writing a perfect article? Do I start off in the day when I'm writing a blog post? Or do I do something for a client? Or what is the actual process that you go through in order to create that massive momentum and that success in writing every single day? And then what kind of writing should you do? Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. In this regard, there is no one size fits all micro step process here. And the reason is because you and I are each going to have a variety of different personality traits, schedules, timing, routines, rhythms, etc. Okay, so before I tell you what I do, I just want to make sure you're 1000% clear on the fact that I'm not telling you this is what all of you guys should do. I'm going to tell you what I do, and then I'm going to tell you what I think you should do to figure out what your routine is. Okay, so what your routine is, and I'm going to help give you an insight of how I get into the flow, quote unquote, and how I'm able to do that process on a regular, consistent basis, and to create my very best copy. So first I'll tell you my routine, and then I'll share with you the process that I use to get to my routine. And I actually think that's the most important answer that we'll talk about today. And I'm going to go through this very, very quickly. So here's my routine. So I wait, and I'm going to share with you my morning routine. That's going to include a few other things besides just my writing routine, but it all integrates and creates the environment that I want to have. And I've done other sessions on flow and getting into that area of genius. So I'm not going to go super deep into this, but here's basically what happens. I wake up every single morning, I walk downstairs, I go to the fridge, I grab my Athletic Greens container out of the fridge, I fill up a glass of water, I mix my Athletic Greens, and I slug that thing down just in about half a second. Then I refill, because there's always a little foamy stuff in there. I refill, I slug it down again. If you don't know what Athletic Greens is, it's a supplement. It's fabulous. I wish I had an affiliate, because then I would make a bunch of money, because some of you guys are going to buy it, because it's the only supplement I've ever taken where I noticeably saw an improvement in my energy and in my mental sharpness and in my overall stamina. So it's absolutely fabulous. The research that's gone into it is incredible. So then I come in here to my office. I have a roller, this right here. I have a roller that I use to stretch out my back, align my spine. Because my back's hurting or was hurting, I'm like being even more diligent on morning stretches. And I do something right off the bat to move my body. Now, this is really important, because when you move, it's going to increase oxygen and blood flow and heart rate and all those kinds of things. Plus, you stay limber. If you sit and are sedentary for too long, then your muscles start cramping up. It restricts blood flow, and it starts to create aches and pains, which then detract from your mental ability to focus and to be able to write to your optimum level. So I like to move first thing in the morning. So I've got a 15-minute routine where I'm stretching, and while I'm doing that, I'm also usually listening to great talks. Now, my great talks in the morning, again, I'm not imposing anything on you, but I think all of you know, or maybe you don't know, but I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And every 6 months, there is a worldwide conference where they have 2 full days, about 10 hours of speakers. And so that's my morning, connect with God, connect with brilliant thinkers and talkers and super successful people. And so I'll stretch and I'll turn one of those things on. And so now I'm activating my body and I'm activating my brain. That's my first process that I go through there. Then I have a routine of going through and saying my prayers. Then I have a routine of studying my scriptures. And I've got blocks of time for each one of those things. And then I sit down. Once I've gone through all that process, then I plan out my day, and then I start to write. I do a journal entry. That's my first thing that I do. The reason why I like to do journal entry is because I want to free flow my thoughts with nothing encumbering them and no pressure. Like my journal gets to be my journal. And this is where I discover what's going on inside my brain. This is where I get to give voice to my feelings. And by the way, an interesting part about being a successful copywriter is being able to be in tune with the invisible. In other words, what's going on inside the heads and the hearts and the feelings of society or your target audience or your people? And how do you understand that and then verbalize it? Well, I practice doing that by taking the invisible inside of me and verbalizing it inside of my journal. And so I sit down and I write out journals. Then I look at any quick projects. And the night before, I will have set up and said, okay, you know what? You need to write this ad, or you need to put together this email, or you're putting together this outline for this presentation. And most of those things are things that I know that I can knock out and get done in anywhere from 10 minutes to 30 minutes. And I'm on a race against time in the morning because from the time I wake up until 8 o'clock, that's the window of time I've got. At 8 o'clock, family events all start happening. We have breakfast together, then we do a devotional and scripture study together, then we exercise together, and that pushes me till about 10 o'clock. And then I can get back into business. So in the morning, I'm like in the flow. Now, this is really important because time frames, and I'm trying to answer this question and really fast because I got so many other things I want to tell you about. But the time frames, time limits are absolutely essential for optimizing your brain. If you sit down, now there's two different parts of this. There is times in your life where you literally need no time limits. You need to go and sit. Like if you can see out my window here, I've got 4 acres of forest back here behind me. We got trails and trees to climb and all kinds of fun stuff out there. And so there are times where I literally will just go and walk and I'll just sit in the forest and there's no schedule. And so I need my brain to be free. But when I'm in production, when I'm in high flow mode, I gotta have time frames. I have to have deadlines because your brain will operate under deadlines at an accelerated pace. And especially if you're driving towards something that's fun and you want to do and have done. And so I try to move that. So I write my journal, I knock out the short, small projects that I want to get done, and I try to get all that done before 8 a.m. And then at 10 o'clock, I will come into my, if I'm not, it depends on how hard the workout was. So it might be 10:30. Like this morning, we did 45 minutes of workout that started with 10 minutes of yoga, 20 minutes of high intensity workout, and then 10 minutes of core. And I literally, it was one of the hardest routines I've done in a long, long time. And so I had to go sit on the back deck and I set a timer for 15 minutes and I literally passed out for 15 minutes laying on the back deck because I was wiped out. So, so anyway, the point is, at 10 o'clock, then I look at and I have a preset number of writing projects that I have. Okay. Now, this depends on where you're at. So right now, if I'm putting together a presentation or some longer ads or some video scripts, or I'm writing stuff for a client, whether that's a sales letter or emails or whatever the project ends up being, then I've got a window of time from 10 or 10:30. I mean, again, it depends on where I'm at. But from about 10 o'clock till noon, I have a position there where my focus is on creation. I'm creating, I'm writing with all the intensity that I can. Now, a big deal for me, I'm just sharing with you a few insights on flow. And this is me, and then I'll share with you some insights how I got here. So I made the investment. These were expensive. This is the Bose Q2, 3, blah, blah, blah. I don't know exactly what they are. Anyway, these are the Bose noise canceling headphones. And I have, some of you have seen it, I have a writing music list. And the writing music list has a pattern in it from high energy music, low energy music, mid-range stuff, thoughtful music, Mozart and classicals. And so I've got a whole music playlist there that moves me through a set of emotions. And I actually have 3 of those playlists. And so depending on what kinds of project that I'm doing, I use music to amp up my emotional state and to cut everything else out. So I put these little babies on and then I just write. And now I write in 30 to, usually it's 45-minute blocks. On my desk, I've got a timer built into the desk. I set it for, it depends on how I'm feeling, but I'll set it for about 45 minutes. and then an alarm will go off and my desk will raise up. It's a standing desk. And so my desk will raise up. So I'm moving in and out of different positions and I'm staying energetic and managing my energy flow while I'm in the middle of doing all this stuff. Okay. So that is my that takes us up till noon. And then afternoon, I get kind of lazy. I'll do like a broadcast like this, or I'll play with the kids. I usually try to be done with work by 3 or 4 o'clock. There might be some other writing things happening there, but that's basically the routine. Now, here's how I got into this rhythm, okay? I got into the rhythm by looking at best practices of successful people. So I just gave you my best practices. And I looked at best practices of successful people that had good, effective writing skills and were effective at managing their time and doing high production output. And then I looked at that and I started trying and playing with different things. And what I was looking for, the number one thing that I was looking for was this. The idea, and this is for my idea, no, it's not all instrumental. There's lots of songs and words and different things. You're on my music. The question was, is all my music instrumental? The answer is no, it's not. There's some are just instrumental. Like I like piano guys. They're great for instrumental stuff. One of the things I like about piano guys is that when I listen to it, you can hear that they have mastered their craft. And when I think about it, I'm thinking, man, these guys work so hard to master their craft. I want to be like that, right? So that it engenders these feelings inside me, which I really like. But anyway, so the point is that I listen to all kinds of different stuff. And here's what I'm looking for. Years ago, I read a book, Now Discover Your Strengths is the name of the book. And they gave me and I don't remember who the author is, so don't ask me, you can Google it, Now Discover Your Strengths. And what they did inside that book is they gave a definition for what a strength was. And he challenged the notion that a strength was something that you're good at. He's like, a strength is not something that you're good at. A strength is something that makes you feel stronger. I'll think about that for a minute, right? When you do an activity, do you feel more powerful? Do you feel stronger? Do you feel more energized and focused? It's like, people that are introverts, when they get around a lot of people, it just sucks them dry. People that are extroverts, when they get around people, they feel like I can literally, I wish we were in person, because the more people I have in the room, the longer I can go. I can literally do 3 or 4 days all by myself if I'm in a room with people, because I feed off of the live interaction with them. Introverts are completely, my good buddy Bob Bly, he goes and speaks at an event and he tells me, he's like, if I go and speak at an event, it wipes him out. Why? Because he's an introvert and he's totally comfortable sitting in his office by himself, and that's his mode, right? That's where he gets his flow. So what I'm looking for in my flow is, I'm looking for a structure in my schedule that produces power in my life, right? I want to increase in power. At the end of the day, I don't want to feel burned out. I don't want to feel like, I'm just dead. I don't, and if you're feeling that way, then you should really take a look at the activities that you're doing. Now, I'm not talking about tired. I'm talking about burned out. Because look, when I do my workouts, at the end of it, I'm dead. I'm so exhausted, but it's a powerful exhaustion. I know that after I recover and stop throwing up, I'm actually going to feel lots better, right? I'm going to feel like there's going to be a portion. Like today, I took that 15-minute nap out on the deck, and now I'm like, poor call people today. They get the hyper Joshua because I'm wired, right? Because I've increased my energy from those activities. So that's what you're looking for. So don't look for, is this hard? That's not the question. Don't look for, I don't know, I'm feeling resistance. Most of the time, if you feel resistance for something, you should be doing it. But look at when you actually do something, does it feel, engaging? Does it feel like you increased your power? And if it does, then you're on the right track towards your flow. I just know that, hey, if I put my headphones on and I put my fingers down and and I got a topic laid out and I'm writing something, I can jam. I mean, I really like it. And I will flow at like anywhere from 85 to 105 words a minute. And I'll do that for 30 to 45 minutes and just not even like, the alarm will go off and I'll be like, what? okay, let's come up for air, people, and take a walk. Why? Because the rhythm and the pattern and the activities help me feel powerful. Okay, so I hope that helped. I hope that helps. What do you find to write about? So in my journal, I focus Brendon Burchard has a number of journal prompts, which are really good. Like how, at the end of the day, what do you want your day to feel like? What did you learn from yesterday? So sometimes there's some journal prompts that are cool. But for me, I have a never-ending list of things to write about and to think about. For me, mostly it's, okay, what experiences have you had in your life today where you saw the hand of God? That's a major prompt question for me. And I'm just like, oh, how have I seen God interacting in my life? And I just start free flowing. Like, how have I seen, and again, I'm not pushing any of you guys are asking me personal questions. I'm giving you personal answers. So you guys can do whatever you want. But for me, it's like, well, how have I seen the hand of the Lord in my life today? And how have I seen it in the hand of the Lord in the life of my family and my friends and my students? And what key things happened that I want to record for posterity? And then, like, what is bothering me? And so I just am a curious person. I'm always asking lots and lots of questions. But those are some of the questions that I ask myself. And then I just free flow the ideas. That's all I do. My journal is terrible grammar, horrible punctuation, spelling errors all over the place. And I don't care. It's just me and my journal. And, you guys can, you don't ever get to see it anyway. So there you go. Someday my posterity will look at it, and I'm sure I'll have some editor, writer, some person melancholy in my genetic pool, and they're gonna freak out about he made his living writing. This is terrible. They'll spaz out. It's okay. Editors get paid peanuts, so this is just the reality of it. Okay. So I'm trying to find my voice. I'm trying to express myself. I'm trying to capture stuff for posterity's sake. So all those kind of good things.